In the first video of the tourist bus in Zaragoza, we covered stops 1 through 7. This video will cover stops 7 through 13. We start out near Plaza Aragon, where El Corte Inglés is. And this is the Science Center here in Zaragoza. It's a science museum with free entry. These tracks are for the tranvía. Here we're crossing the tram tracks and we're getting on to Paseo Sagasta. This part of the route is going to be a lot different from the first part. In the first part, you got to see a lot of the tourist areas where it's very busy with a lot of people. This portion of the route goes to the west side of Zaragoza and then it goes north. Up ahead, we're approaching a Catholic church, and you will see Puerta del Carmen going by on the right-hand side. At that point, we're going to cross over onto Paseo de María Agustín. Up ahead, you can see Puerta del Carmen. We're crossing over Hernán Cortés. And we are on Paseo María Agustín. If you watched my walking tour video, you'll notice that this is the same stretch of road that I was on that day. This teal building is an art museum. It has many floors and lots of interesting art, so I once again want to encourage you to go visit it. Once we cross the river, you're going to notice that there's not a lot of places to shop. There's mostly government buildings and areas to go outside and get into nature. Up ahead on the left, you're going to see the same school that I showed you in the walking tour video. This is a public school. It's called Colegio Público Joaquín Costa. They have an aula here for TEA, which is the acronym for that is used in Spain for children with autism. Not all schools have TEA classrooms, so if you happen to have a child who has autism and it's severe enough to get into one of these classrooms, you'll have to have them evaluated in the school system here before they can be placed into a classroom or placed into a school with a TEA classroom. It's called Aula TEA. Maybe they call it Aula Tea in Spanish. Once again, we're traveling west in Zaragoza on María Agustín. Many people write to me asking about what types of nature opportunities are available in Zaragoza. You're going to see here within the city that there's Parque del Agua, which is a really large park where there's a lot of different things to see and do. There's also other places that are not in this video. One of those places is called Husnibol. It's a little north of the city. And then in one of my previous videos, I showed you that there's a pathway that goes along the river, which you can walk from west to east in the city on both sides of the river. In addition to that, Zaragoza has many different parks throughout the city that kids can play in that have playgrounds. Here we're going to be taking a turn to go north.
Hoy, lunes 21, tienen las puertas abiertas. Botón rojo y por favor, permanezca sentado hasta que el autobús esté parado. Muchas gracias. This is Plaza de Toros. We have turned onto a street called Calle de Marie Curie, or Marie Curie. You will also see that in the walking tour video. To the left, you're going to see a plaza called Plaza del Portillo. And then we will turn right on Calle del Conde de Aranda.
and make a right again on Paseo de Maria Agustin, headed once again towards Plaza Europa. This is a monument to Augustina Zaragoza. In 1809, the events of the war brought Augustina and her husband to Zaragoza. During the siege of the city, Augustina carried out the action that made her famous. After all the defenders of the gate, known as El Portillo, had been wounded or killed, the French troops rushed to take it by assault. Augustina, who was carrying food to her husband, took the fuse from a wounded artilleryman and managed to fire a cannon at the French troops who were running towards the entrance. Legend has it that the French attackers, fearing an ambush, retreated, and new defenders came to cover the breach, defending the city once more. So this is a monument that has been put up to honor her. Here I'm making an effort to show you what some of the apartment buildings look like over here. I'd like to thank you for your support, for subscribing to my channel and liking this video. A couple of days ago I posted the walking tour video and I showed you the opposite side of Iglesia de Nuestra Señora del Portillo. So here in the background you can see the front side of that church, in case you're interested in matching things up. Now we're going to leave this plaza and get back onto Palacio de Maria Agustin. We are crossing Maria Agustin and we're on Avenida de Madrid. Up to the right, we're going to find Palacio de la Aljafería. This palace has a long history in Zaragoza, so I highly suggest that you visit it if you come to Zaragoza. We are going to make a right turn on the roundabout to Avenida de Soria. We are now on Avenida de Soria, where the Delicious train station and bus stop are. This building on the left is the bus station and train station. They have fast trains, slow trains, and buses here.
We have made another turn and we are now on Avenida de la Expo 2008 or Avenida de la Expo 2008. From this point of view, I'm trying to show you the mountains in the background. Over there is where Huslibol is. You can take the bus to get to Huslibol. When we get to the Ebro River, we're going to see a bridge called Puente del Tercer Milenio. It's the largest suspended concrete arch bridge in the world, according to Google. Now, as we cross the bridge, I'll show you to the right where the Mobility Museum is. This is a museum that's also suspended across the river. That's it right there. Now that we've come across the bridge, you're going to notice that there's a little bit less of development out here. This is the area where you can go to play putt-putt golf. They have laser tag, I believe. There's a soccer place here where you can play or sign up to play games or get weekly practice called Soccer World. And there are government buildings and some large parks. This section of the city includes Actur, so this is the west side of Actur. Over to the left, we're looking out at Parque del Agua. Over to the right, you'll find government buildings and also the area where the aquarium is located. The bus is going to continue on. It's going to make a U-turn and then enter into Parque de Agua. So now we're approaching the roundabout where we're going to make a U-turn to go into Parque del Agua. This intersection is with the street called Avenida de José Atares and Calle de Pablo Ruiz Picasso. You can see the big Mercadona is over there. This is probably one of the only grocery stores in this area, which is why it would not be the most convenient place to live. You would definitely want to go a little further east if you were going to live in Actur
to where you're closer to Carrefour and Gran Casa. Now we're entering into the parking lot for Parque del Agua. You'll start to notice the different things that clue you into the fact that this is a big nature park. There are playground places to do outdoor exercise. You could take a nature walk. There are some woods with trails, and the place is very big. There's ducks, swans, all types of birds to see here. Over to the left, you see an outdoor exercise area, the blue and yellow that were right next to the bus. So once again, this is a place where you can come to quote unquote get outdoors while also living in a very convenient city. You can see the bridge in the distance that we just crossed. So now we're getting back onto our main road, where we're just going to drive back by the same government buildings that we've already driven by. This is a pedestrian crosswalk. It takes you from the area with the government buildings and the aquariums, across the Parque del Agua. Sometimes there are events over there, and it's referred to as Expo 2008. Expo 2008. These are the types of government buildings where processes like getting your birth certificate or registering for citizenship once you have approval and you need your Spanish birth certificate are done. Now we're going to turn on Avenida de Jose Atares.
pulse el botón rojo y recuerde permanecer sentado hasta que el autobús esté parado. Muchas gracias.
To the left, you can see the football fields. These fields will be full of kids playing games almost every Saturday of the year. So if you're interested in getting your kids signed up for football and you don't know who to contact, just find a local football field near you and go there on a Saturday. And this is the Ebro River to your right. This space with the polka dots is where they have a lot of events. And the pedestrian crosswalk, which goes across the river. This has been part 2 of the Zaragoza tourist bus ride. Check back later for part 3. And don't forget to check out part 1 if you haven't seen it already.